The Jewish woman is referred to in the Torah as the Akiris Habayis, the foundation of the home. Contrary to popular myth, it is the home, not the synagogue, around which Jewish life revolves. This means, then, that the Jewish woman is the heart and strength not just of her particular home and family, but of the Jewish people as a whole. She sees to it that her house is a place where her family receives nourishment, both physical and spiritual, where Jewish values are nurtured and transmitted to the next generation, where the light of God shines at every moment. Join us now for a talk with Mrs. Tivia Jacobson as she paints a portrait of the multi-generational family woman.
I remember my mother telling me that somebody asked her, Mrs. Lipsker, how did you manage to practice Judaism under the communist rule, where Judaism was supposed to be thrown out, where God was banished? So she said, practice? You practice the violin, you practice piano. We lived Judaism. There was no such thing as practice. This was our life. We didn't have any other way of thinking. We lived the way we lived according to our traditions, to the way they were taught, the way their parents brought them up. Their home was a haven for anybody who came there. And this was a home that was filled with warmth and love. When Shabbos came, everything was cleared away, and there was a huge table with the beautiful candlesticks, and the most delicious food was served. And the house looked like a palace. And when came at night, the table was moved away, a few beds were put up, and the 5 children, and the mother and the father, and sometimes, and very often, some guests would sleep over. But it was our haven, it was a palace, and whoever came into the home felt enriched by the atmosphere. What kind of home do we have now? Well, I have a big house. I have 4 bedrooms. I have a huge dining room table. I don't have to move it anywhere. I have a beautiful, huge silver candelabra. So what's the difference? The difference is only in the size of the house, not in the atmosphere, not in the ambience, not in the warmth that you feel, whether you went into that 3-room house or you go into a 12-room mansion. It is the beauty that the mother of the home, who is the foundation of the home, and when a child leaves that home, they walk away embraced by this atmosphere, by this warmth of a Yiddish home, of a home that is totally imbued with Jewish values, with Jewish principles, and with Jewish deeds. And the children are protected and are able to imbue their children and their children's children with that same warm, wonderful feeling of accomplishment, of having fulfilled the mission which God has given them upon bringing them down to this world. How appropriate it was that she passed away on a joyful night for the family, where my nephew, my mother's grandson, was getting married. And she waited until the last blessing of the wedding was made, and she gave up her soul to her master. We were all there dressed in our finery. Children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all singing a Hasidic tune as she was leaving this world. She was sure, she was totally confident that the legacy that she got from her parents, from her great-grandmothers, and she passed on to her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren will be eternal until the time when Mashiach comes and He'll liberate the world from all our difficulties. And our lives will be joyful forever.